Hey, how you doing guys? ZDEyE here. So today I wanted to go over pretty much all of the games that were recently delayed, but I have to also mention that I'm going to be going over some of the games that were already announced that were going to be delayed back in 2019. It's quite insane, isn't it, how many games has been delayed? Like, in my list I actually have 10 plus games, more than that, and yet it's just insane how quickly, and as it's been mentioned, a season of delays, announcements, is quite incredible. Now, of course, we don't know exactly if every single game that were delayed will be coming out on this year, right, 2020. But there's a good chance most of these games, well, actually, most of these games will come out in 2020. And as such, you know what, let's just begin, because if we already know, right, a delayed game is eventually good, but a rushed game is forever bad by Shigeru Miyamoto. And of course, first up is going to be one of the recent games. And no, it's not Sabbath Punk. I'm talking about Marvel's Iron Man VR. It was actually delayed to May 15th, but previously was planned to be released in February 28th. And as such, of course, they need more polish, more, things that need to be done for this game. Now, personally for me, I'm not much of a VR type of guy, with the games and stuff that it has. And personally, I still think it's more of a niche audience that it's targeting for. And again, I may get into that very, very, very later on. But currently, I just don't see the worth of the investment, at least not yet. But still, that's just my personal opinion, and of course, everyone has their own. And as such, you know what, let's get into the obvious choice, not really choice, but the second game is Sabbath Punk 2077. Of course, it was supposed to be coming in April 16th, but it was pushed back to September 17th. I'm sure all of you already know this, and this is why I'm putting up almost at the very beginning of the video. A few other games I'm going to be mentioning it as well, such as like Watch Dogs Legion. Originally it was actually supposed to come out in March 6th, but it was actually pushed back to physical year of 2020 to 2021. This means that there's a chance of it's coming out right after April 1st, and but of course it's not going to be released anywhere near before summer of 2020. No way in hell, because there would have been far more marketing push currently at the moment, but there isn't. And as such, we would have known about the release date, but of course we do not. And a lot of people predict to say that the game will be coming out after summer, because it really would make sense, to be honest with you. But there's also a chance I could have even gotten delayed to a year, seriously, because it may even come out in 2021 in February, as an example. Now, obviously, I don't believe that. I personally think it will be coming out at the end of the year, of this year, mind you, and so that's when I think it will come out. Next up, a little game called Doom Eternal. It's been already delayed since 2019. Originally, it was actually planned November the 22nd, but it was, as I already mentioned, pushed back all the way through the March 20th. And as such, it got plenty of months and time for it to be polished up and perfect, hopefully as well, and for the people to enjoy this game. By the way, I got plenty of more videos coming up for Doom Eternal. I cannot wait to publish it to you and check it out. Also, just wanted to mention that Doom Eternal seems like it's going to be a fantastic game. The brand new trailer very recently came out. It looks very good. And as such, you know what, let's just continue, not drag this video too long. And Skull and Bones. Skull and Bones was actually slated to be released, believe it or not, back in 2018. It had multiple delays, and yet with still no official release yet. It's just crazy, it's crazy. And yet we don't even expect to see this game in this year. It will most likely be coming out because the next year, 2021. That's absolutely insane. What is happening with that game? It's extremely concerning, because if the game got multiple delays, maybe like say 2, 3, 4 delays, that's a problem. Something is wrong. Something could be going on with the development. And we already know this, a development hell, and that's not a good thing. Trust me. Sometimes when you delay a game too often, there's something going on behind the background that we do not know. Of course, this is my speculation. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm overthinking this or overanalyzing these things, but still, just be very careful about picking this game up when it does finally release. Something about it that does not give a very good vibe, but anyway. And as such, let's just continue to a more of a niche game. Personally for me, well, it still is. I'm talking about Animal Crossing New Horizons. It was supposed to come out in 2019. It was a vague kind of window release on that year, but it actually confirmed coming in March 2020 and as such. Now, of course, I don't personally know too much about Animal Crossing. I do know a lot of people are very excited to get their hands on this game. Personally, for me, I'm not that much into it, but still, I wanted to give it a highlight in this delay since it was actually delayed. And as such, let's just continue into the other Ubisoft game, Gods and Monsters. Supposed to be actually, believe it or not, released in the February of 2020. Yeah, mind you, in a month. Crazy, isn't it? But yet, no, it was pushed. Similar thing as it was as the Watch Dogs Legion. Actually, this time around will be coming out in 2020-2021 physical year, sometime that period, I guess. But of course, if we have to consider as well that it's extremely packed after the summer and the fall of 2020, I seriously believe that this game was delayed by a year. I really believe that. And so I actually think it may come out this time around next year. That's my personal estimate when we should expect Gods and Monsters, because it actually looks entertaining and interesting personally for me, and I do want to get my hands on it. Next game, again, is from Ubisoft. The last game I should probably mention that is coming from Ubisoft is Rainbow Six Quarantine. It's actually official release date was never really announced in the first place, but of course, don't expect it any sooner than April 1st, well, perhaps even 2021. Of course, this is also a very good thing, because when you don't announce the release dates, you don't have that kind of a responsibility to make that day or that week off personally for yourself, because you don't know when the game will be coming out beforehand. Like the Sabbath Punk as an example. Like I already mentioned, Sabbath Punk was delayed, and a lot of people are angry to see this, because in advance time they need to make sure, people need to make sure that they have free time during those days or those weeks even, and they take a day off, week off as an example, to play the game, but it was delayed. Of course, it's not a clever thing to do. You have to wait until the game goes gold, and then you can be certain that you can actually take those days off. Never do that. That's my, advice, I should say. But at this point, Rainbow Six Quarantine, of course, it never got an initial release date. I'm sure a lot of people are excited for the game as well. And of course, it seems like the game most likely will be coming out in 2021, a very, very long time. But it's an excellent thing as well, because I do not want Ubisoft to rush their games at all, since we've seen such a major fuck with the Breakpoint, the game that recently came out in 2019, and what a disaster that was. But anyway, let's just continue. Final Fantasy VII Remake, well, you already guys know this, it was only delayed by a month. It was supposed to come out on March 3rd, but instead it's coming in April 10th, when the launch was actually so close by with Sabbath Punk. It was insane. People were so afraid, because they thought they never gonna get that chance of finishing the game before Sabbath Punk comes out. But now it's actually a good thing, because Sabbath Punk was delayed, and so that gives a breathing room to the Final Fantasy VII remake game. And it seems like it's going to be an extra, still a very special, April, the month, because it's still going to be quite packed, to be honest with you, because we're still talking about that Resident Evil 3, as well as Final Fantasy VII Remake, and on top of that Persona Royale, I believe it was called, or Royal, if that's how you pronounce it. But yeah, those games are coming just alone in April. It's quite insane. Still a very packed month, but a lot more manageable, thankfully. Well, personally for me, I'm definitely looking forward to the Resident Evil 3, and on top of that, a Final Fantasy VII Remake. Not so much of the Persona game, but still, I have a keen eye on it. Let's continue. So Marvel's Avengers is the next game up. Of course, it will not be coming until, well, it will be coming now in September the 4th, but it was supposed to come out in the May 15th. But again, Looks like a delay by about 4 months, I believe. So I think it's absolutely was a necessary thing to do, because I never really truly believed in this game when first time I saw the trailer of it back in the E3 of 2019. I was quite disappointed, to be honest. To be 100% honest with you all. I even made a couple of videos. A lot of people hated me on those videos. Like, to be honest, I can understand. Opinions are not really supportive on YouTube, so what do you expect? But still, I never truly trust Marvel's Avengers, the game. And I still thought it was going to be way too close of a tight schedule for them to make the game as best as possible. But 4 months of delay, that's a big thing. Keeping out a whole summer, and so the developers will be able to get their chance of actually improving and making the game as best as they can, and that's a big thing, and that's actually a very, very good thing. Let's get into the last game in this list. Is The Last of Us Part 2. Initially was slated to release on February 21st, but it's now set for May 29th. Now, extra days, it's okay. Extra weeks is even better. Months is fantastic. And years, well, that could be concerning. But still, The Last of Us Part 2 was actually, well, delayed for a couple of months. It's no big deal personally for me, but I can understand why some other people will be quite disappointed about this news. But you know what makes this even better of this sort of a delay that we've gotten, and this time will be coming in May 29th? Because it's right before summer. So many people can finally enjoy their game, The Last of Us Part 2, throughout the summer. Get, like, as an example, a platinum trophy with the game, because the game is bloody fantastic. Well, of course, I'm talking about initially from the first game. I can't say too much about the second game. Obviously, I didn't play it yet, and we are all expecting big things from The Last of Us Part 2. In fact, it may be that great they could get the Game of the Year in 2020. But of course, if Cyberpunk doesn't steal from that spot as well, from The Last of Us Part 2, now that's going to be a very interesting year in 2020, because there's only two big games that truly deserve the Game of the Year in 2020 by our speculation and our hype level I'm talking about. Of course, I'm not talking about truly by the review standards, just the speculation part. The Last of Us Part 2 and Cyberpunk 2077. In my personal opinion, the one that deserves the most is obviously Cyberpunk, but still, it will be a bad thing for me to say that The Last of Us Part 2 does not deserve it either. It will be shit thing to say for me. But those two games are fantastic in their own ways, and I personally cannot wait to get both of these games, and my god, I'm gonna be all over those games. Oh, YouTube videos for life! I'm making all about those games. Cannot wait. Now, these were all the lists that I have configured, putting into the one video. I just wanted to mention as well, yes, I have skipped on some of the games that are very smaller titles, right? That's why I only mentioned like Marvel's Iron Man VR game, just have a 10+ sort of delays as well. But plus it was quite very recent of delay, so I just needed to include this into this video as well. And as such, I think that's that. Thank you so much for watching. Tell me down in the comments, did I miss any other games? I understand I could have missed, like I already mentioned, but just please do tell me down in the comments. I would love to hear what you think about it as well. But this delays that I have talked about in this video, it would be nice to hear and see. Alright, well, again, thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe. See you guys all later. Have an awesome day, and yeah, have a good one.